In the heart of a vast green garden, surrounded by blooming flowers and whispering trees, there lived a magnificent peacock. His feathers shimmered like jewels under the sunlight. Shades of emerald, sapphire, and gold glistened whenever he spread his colorful tail. Every step he took seemed like a dance, every movement like a stroke from a divine artist's brush. The other creatures of the garden admired him greatly. The parrots loved his colors, the deer envied his grace, and even the butterflies paused their flight just to watch him twirl in the morning sun. Wherever the peacock went, whispers of wonder followed. Slowly, the admiration of others filled his heart with pride. He began to think, "I am the most beautiful being on this earth. No one can compare to me." Each morning, the peacock would walk to the crystal-clear pond at the edge of the garden. He would gaze into his reflection and say proudly, "Look at me. How could anyone be as perfect as I am? The world must have been painted for my dance." One day, while the peacock admired himself, a crow landed nearby. The crow was small and black, his feathers dull and plain, yet his eyes held wisdom. The crow spoke softly. "Peacock, your feathers are indeed beautiful, but do not let pride blind your heart. Beauty is a gift, not a reason for arrogance." The peacock turned and laughed loudly. "You, a plain black bird, dare lecture me? You are nothing compared to me. When I spread my feathers, the whole garden stops to watch. When you fly, people chase you away." The crow smiled and replied calmly, "Perhaps. But remember, beauty fades. Only character lasts forever." The peacock scoffed, spread his feathers wide, and walked away with his head held high, leaving the wise crow behind. Days passed. Then one afternoon, the sky darkened. Thick clouds rolled over the horizon, and soon the first drops of rain began to fall. The wind howled through the trees, and the once peaceful garden trembled under the power of the storm. The peacock tried to find shelter, but his enormous feathers, once his pride, had become his burden. The rain soaked into them, making them heavy and useless. He could barely move, and flying was impossible. He tried to run, but the mud clung to his feet. The branches above snapped, and water poured over him. His beautiful feathers, once shining like jewels, now hung limp and dull. High above, the crow flew easily through the storm. The rain slid off his smooth black feathers, and his small wings allowed him to dart quickly between trees. From his perch on a sturdy branch, he looked down and saw the peacock struggling helplessly in the mud. When the storm finally passed, the garden was silent. The air smelled of wet earth. The crow flew down beside the drenched, trembling peacock. "How are you, my friend?" the crow asked gently. The peacock lowered his eyes, ashamed. His feathers were tangled, their colors muted. I was wrong," he said quietly. "My beauty could not save me. It failed me when I needed it most." The crow nodded. "Beauty is never wrong, my friend. But pride makes it blind. You see, I may not shine like you, but my simplicity saved me from the storm. Every creature has a purpose. Yours is to inspire, mine is to survive. Neither is greater, only different." Tears welled in the peacock's eyes. He whispered, "I was so busy admiring myself that I forgot to admire the wisdom of others." The crow smiled softly. "True beauty doesn't live in feathers or faces. It lives in kindness, humility, and wisdom. Those who carry these never lose their glow, even when the storms come." The next morning, the sun rose over the garden once again. The peacock, humbled but wiser, stood by the same pond, not to admire himself, but to thank nature for teaching him a lesson. When he spread his feathers that day, it was not out of pride, but out of gratitude. His dance was no longer to show off, but to celebrate life, the sun, the rain, and every creature around him. From the nearby tree, the crow watched and smiled. He knew that the peacock had changed. The proud bird had finally learned that real beauty shines brightest when it comes from the heart. This story gives a big message to us. The pride blinds us, but humility opens our eyes. Outer beauty fades with time, but inner goodness only grows brighter. The simplest creature can survive storms that the proudest cannot. Be kind, be wise, and let your heart be more beautiful than your reflection.